going to be a really awesome Facebook Live because it'll be a sort of creative mishmash of Yasutomo and Spellbinders, and you can already see all of the beautiful things that Karen's made. So we're really excited for today. Let us know if you have any questions, and I'm going to hand it over to you, Karen. Thank you.
Thank you, Phoebe. Spellbinders sent me a better press maybe last year, and I worked with it a little bit, but I found that it was so perfect. The better press and the die cutting machine that they sell is such a great product for our papers and our watercolors and our watercolor papers. I just thought it would be fun to do a kind of a collaborative one and just something that to maybe inspire you to give the better press and the die cutting machines a try in your paper crafting using some of our papers and some techniques. Maybe I'll inspire you today. So hope so. So there's two different things I want to share with you. Spellbinders is a company. They make a lot of stuff, but I'm going to show you this little guy. I've had this thing for a long time. This is the Platinum. It's a die cutting machine. I like that it's just a hand crank. I like the color. I like that it has a small footprint. So basically I could put this in a closet. I don't have to, take up too much space. I do have limited space in my studio here. So I like that it's small and it has, very, very clean looking and very pretty. That's the basic machine, even though there's no electrical parts. That's something that you could use for embossing, for die cutting, and the letter pressing, which I'm going to show you some of that today. That's that, which I'm not going to go over too much about die cutting because a lot of people already know that. And then this is a little separate piece that I received, and I really think it's amazing, especially with watercolors. And that's kind of where I'm going to focus today is the watercolors. But this is the Better Press, or yes, the Better Press. And it basically goes through that machine that I just showed you. It works perfectly with the machine and other die cutting machines. It's not only exclusive. I think they made this so that other people who own other die cutting machines like the Cricut or the Sizzix or any of those, this should work with them. But I happen to like Spellbinders products, so I happen to have both Spellbinders, and I've had other die cut machines, but I've kept this one because I just like that it's small and it's kind of elegant and it looks nice in a studio if you have room. So the thing I want to focus on though, and if you have any questions, I know I'm going to go, hi, Lynn. Lynn's here and Joyce, yay. So I've kind of broken down my little creative week into two little piles here. And one is the die cutting pile. And I'm really not going to focus on the die cutting as much as far as demoing it because it is kind of messy. I mean, you get little bits and pieces of paper everywhere, but I wanted to express how fun it is to use the Yasutomo PURE paper. The paper, we get, it's 100 sheets of all these different colors. You get like all these colors in a pack and they're colored all the way through. So I'm just gonna, like if I take this little piece, I love that green. This can go through the die cut machine and it makes beautiful, detailed, adorable little die cuts. You can see these just super wonderful. It just goes through so nice. And of course, Spellbinders and other brands have all these wonderful dies, cutting dies that make these incredibly delicate, I mean, just gorgeous. Now, this is pure paper and it's was gel printed first. So that is kind of beautiful. I just think these are beautiful. And I'll use these in some paper crafting. And I have a little trick I'm going to talk to you today about. And I'll do it before I move on to the watercolor part. But these are just little dies. These are little pieces that I had cut out earlier in the week. And I made some cards and things out of. But you can save these, like put them in a little baggie and save them for later. And I'm going to just tell you a little trick. I'm going to do it right now so I don't forget because I know I will. A lot of people I've seen demoing, they take a little tweezer and then they take glue and they dot, and they take forever by the time, at least for me. So this is what I've been seeing right here. So I see this little deal gone and then I see glue, little dots of glue being put on, and then I see it put on a card or wherever, it could be an embellishment, it could be something, on a mixed media piece, if you want to put it on a book cover. Now, I found something a little bit easier, and I'm going to show you, like, this is a great way to do this. I'm going to show you a much easier way that you can get all of your little pieces. This stuff here, it's called Artist Tack, acid-free. It's a one sheet, it's an adhesive sheet. I'm just going to show you how I do this and how easy it is. It's just so cool. So pure paper, I wanted to bring that up today, that I cut these all out of the pure paper. Some had been gel printed and some had not. But I'm going to show you how I like to do these. I like to take the paper, the cover sheet off, if I can get it off with my fingers here. And I look for the adhesive side. Okay, so the adhesive is, you can barely see it, but it's like little dots, itty bitty dots of adhesive are on this thing. So we're going to take all of our little pieces and we're going to stick them on, like on the dots. Just stick them on. Look, I'm just going to take them all, and this is going to help me so that when I am doing some crafting or card crafting, I can do these. I'm just going to put this on. This is a real delicate one, and you could put like any type. Here's a little crane. I don't know if I can fit that on there. Here's just got to find the room. Need little birds, and I just put them on, place them on my sheet, and I try to keep them as close as I can so I don't waste any of the adhesive. Here's a little feather. I like the leaves. Keep going on the leaves. If I can fit them on, I will do it. Let's see, maybe that one won't fit. All right, maybe it will if I just get it in there, right there. And so you can just basically pile it on and just get as many as you can on that piece. But I'm not going to waste too much more time on that, so I'm going to move it on. And I'm going to take this, and I'm going to just take, I won't put this back on because I actually think that this, I'm going to put that aside because it still has some adhesive on it. And I'm going to use a piece of deli paper. And I'm just going to lay it on top, and then I'm going to rub it. Oops. Rub up all the extra dots that are on this thing. There's little adhesive dots that are on there. And I'm going to just lift them off. And now what I've got is I've made stickers, which now it's not going to be so crazy. So you can see the little dots are lifting off. I don't know if you can see that, but right now I have a nice little sheet of a sticker stuff. And I'm going to actually take this and turn it over because I didn't get it all off on that. But basically, now that I've removed that, sorry for the noise there. Now I've got a way to put these on cards. So like this one here, I did a little watercolor first, just a watercolor wash. And I cut out these, I just die cut the birds, and the same thing. Once I let the watercolor wash dry, I think I drew a line to make a wire, and then I stuck that on there. So I think that's just a really super easy card. Pat's here too. Hi, and Paul. Yay. So these are just a really nice way to kind of save your die cuts, do a little die cutting session and then save it. And then when you're ready to do some paper crafting or card making, you've got your die cut because it's separate. I think it should be a separate activity because it gets really die cutting. If you have done it before, all these little bits and pieces, little tiny bits get everywhere. So just as a little kind of a little tip for you if you don't already know that one. And this one, I love these. These are the layered from Spellbinders makes these layered. They're just incredible. I use the pure paper and I have all these color choices and I was able to make these gorgeous cards by using the pure paper. So I just wanted you to see those, even though can't demo them today. Just like I said, messy and time consuming, but so worthwhile. And this one here was a Spellbinders Jane Davenport face. There it is again. I basically I just created these shapes and stuck this is all done with the die cut, all done with the die cut. So, and you can see how delicate and how interesting your pieces can be. In this one, if I didn't do the sticker thing, it would have driven, I think the glue would have dried in one end before I'd had a chance yeah, it'd be dry before I had a chance to finish. So those are the die cut kind of examples. And I wanted to hopefully inspire you today. And I have a card and I'm going to get it out of the, it's not probably that important, I guess. So next thing I want to talk about, and I love the Better Press because it is a fantastic way to really have fun with watercolor and really not have to do, it's really easy. I mean, that's all I can say. It's just so easy. This one, I'm going to demo this today. This one is a watercolor background first. I just did a random watercolor background, which like this, and I'll show you how I did it. And then I put it through the press and I lined it with some gold paint, some Gansai watercolors, and mounted it on a black card and then mounted it again on some mixed media card. I'm going to show you how I did this because I think this is the best, most satisfying way to do this because you get these really beautiful, subtle colory effects or color in effects. And this one I did a soft background and then I went in afterwards with the watercolors and did some painting on top. So it kind of gave more contrast. I'm going to show you these today. This one I just did today a little while ago, and it's a very, very simple watercolor background with the Better Press thing on top. I just think these are great. Really simple, very effective. This is one where I did the Better Press first and then watercolored after. So you get all kinds of, you can do lots of, if you love watercolor, like I love watercolor, you can use this Better Press to make really professional quality cards and very simply. This one is just a watercolor background. Very, very nice. I think it was just some metallic, very soft blues and a little metallic in the background. And then again, this little sentiment on top. So really, there's a lot it can get just, you can see, I love this kind of look because it's so easy for me to make a watercolor, very beautiful watercolor. And this one, I'll show you the technique because this one is basically, I have to run it through twice to get the impression twice. And I thought this one was fun because I just kind of went crazy on the color, and I believe I colored it after I went through the Better Press. So it was on a raw sheet of paper, and I was able to get a really interesting effect. And this one was a little fun little tag that I made with the did a watercolor first, Better pressed it, and then I cut little holes and tied this little thing together. And I just think those are amazing. Are just so easy and fun. So I'm going to just start demonstrating, give you some techniques. And please, if you have any questions, please ask. And I am here to answer. So, and plus I'm playing. So, I could get lost in my play. Now, let me explain something. Better Press makes, Spellbinders makes these cards, panels, 25 sheets, A2 size. They also make a 25 sheet 5x7 size. But the beauty of this, I am so excited because, and I know a lot of people have wanted to know if you can do the Better Press on other card stock, and yes, you can. So this is our Yasutomo hot press. It's the best use for the hot press watercolor paper that I have found, is doing it through this because it's not really a true hot press. It has some, I knew I took off a piece. It has some texture to it. It looks almost, if I were to compare these, I mean, I don't think they're the same manufacturer, but in fact, this is a brighter white than that. They do have very similar looks. They're both 100% cotton. This is 100% cotton. So it works beautifully in the Better Press. So I'm going to tear up a couple sheets. And I am not going to worry about sizing them yet because I can always trim my sheets. I'll probably do 3 of these just to kind of show you some different techniques. So the first technique I'm going to show you is the watercolor. I'll do a watercolor wash, which needs to dry anyway. So if I have let's say I have let's see what I'm going to use. I'm going to try a different one this time because I haven't used this one yet. But this is a gorgeous little, looks like a little bouquet of wildflowers. I love that. And I think I have to think about, here's a thanks. If I wanted to make a thanks, make it a thank you card, kind of mapping it out a little. I'm looking at where the flowers are, and I'm going to kind of think about composing my watercolor background based on what I'm going to use to do the piece here. So now I have that, and I'm just going to take some of this is the Studio Set Niji watercolors, and I love this because I have such an I have a really nice selection of colors, And I'm not worried about transparency so much. Even though these are pretty transparent, except for maybe these three colors, the lemon yellow, gamboge, I mean, not the cadmium orange, cadmium red. But I'm not worried because I can do an opaque watercolor, even a gouache if I want. I can even use some Gansai watercolors, which I was going to use today. These are fabulous on there. And I'm going to tell you a little bit. And then I'm so excited about this. The Gansai watercolors that we have, I know Spellbinders carries the dish, the beautiful round ceramic dish of ours. This is nice because I just have it in a small compact size. I've got the silver, yellow gold, and red gold, and I have this nice black, red, and white, which is a nice, really nice set. And I'm going to tell you the number of that if I can. That's WC220, just so you know. And it's just beautiful. And this is our new Gansai watercolor. It comes in a kit right now, but we are bringing it in as a standalone product, but it has some new colors, and you can see they're kind of, I've been using them. So they're not the prettiest things right now, but it has a gold and a silver in it, and they're so different because this is a transparent gold and transparent silver, and this is these are opaque. So I use both of them. And I'm going to use these, and I'm going to just do some watercolor based on this, kind of thinking about wanting to put some flower colors here maybe, and then maybe a bluish background for sky, but keeping it light and pale. So I've got my fusion brush, and I'm going to kind of, my watercolors are a little, or my water's a little bit, what do you call it? Got some color in it because I've been painting all day, but I'm just going to dampen the whole piece. And this is 100% cotton, just like the cotton cards that Spellbinders makes. And you can do the same thing with if you have the Spellbinder cards, because 100% cotton, if you wet it on both sides, you can see it's buckling right now. Well, if I wet it on both sides, and I could spray it, but it, take a little less time if I sprayed it. But my spray bottle isn't at my fingertips right now. But if I put some water on this on both sides, what's going to happen is they'll straighten out. The buckling will stop. It will just become perfectly flat. And if I let that water kind of soak in, it's a good thing. Now it's laying flat. It's not going to be buckling. And that's kind of what you would do if you stretched a watercolor paper. You would wet it, then take off the excess moisture, and maybe put something on it, blot it a little bit, and then use some tape, and then it shrinks it shrinks to make it flat. So now I'm going to do my watercolors. Nothing fancy. I'm just going to take maybe some quinacridone magenta, and since it's kind of wet, this is nice. I'm just going to drop it in kind of where I'm thinking my flowers are going to be. That's that one big flower. Just going to drop it right there. And then I'm going to take some yellow or quinacridone gold, and I'm going to drop it kind of where that daisy is, maybe some lemon yellow too. And it doesn't have to be really bright. I'm just doing a little bit. And if I see some other little kind of flowers here. I see some beautiful little lavender colored flowers. So I'm going to take some violet and maybe just kind of do a little like that. Very simple, nothing fancy, right? Now, I don't want to overdo it, but I'm going to take some of the cerulean blue, which is a gorgeous sky color, and I'm just going to bring it kind of wet. Everything's wet, so that's a good thing. And I'm just going to kind of bring it around, very soft and subtle and not overdoing it. I'm going to move that over there a little bit. And I'm just going to bring that in. And I may also add some green in a minute here. But I'm going all the way to the edge of this card. Even if I'm going to trim it at the end, I still want to go all the way to the edge on this one. I'm just doing a wet into wet, like wash, very soft and subtle. And I think I'm going to look at where my greenery is. And I'm going to just put maybe some green, some of this Hooker's green, and kind of make some, what you call, like they kind of look like stems, right? And maybe some leaves, but very, very subtle. We're not trying to overthink it because it's really not going to be perfectly lined up. I'm just kind of giving the impression of leaves and stems. And that's it on that, I think. Now, I could add some silver. I think this would be gorgeous. I'm going to add a little silver. This is the translucent silver. And I'm just going to kind of drop it in. It's very, very pale, very subtle, but it'll look really pretty. I think it'll look gorgeous in the final piece. Now that I have to let dry for a little while. So I think I might even add some indigo on the outer parts, just a little, maybe it's a cloudy day or something, raining outside. It's just a soft, wet wash here. Now that's going to take some time to dry. So what I'm going to do, when I could heat it, but I'm going to show you while this is kind of drying, because I probably should heat it just for a second. Now usually I like to do my heat gun like this, just kind of hit it with the heat gun. And it's pretty wet and it's nice and flat. And normally I'd let it dry naturally and it should just dry pretty flat just because I'm not causing shrinkage by heating it. But for now, I'll just set this aside for a sec. I'm going to demonstrate how this press works. So I kind of did that earlier with this and I went kind of bright. And this is pretty. I'm going to grab my spray bottle. I think I need it. I said it was at my fingertips, but or it wasn't, but I'm going to grab it and I'm going to spritz it. This will be a lot quicker. So what I'm going to do is I've got my bottle filled with distilled water and I'm just going to spritz the back a little bit. Okay, see how it's bowing a little bit? Just a little. And then I'm not going to do the front. I'm just going to let that sit. And I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm going to blot that. Just blot it a little bit so it's not, I don't want it soaking wet. I want it just to be damp, but not dripping. And this is actually helpful when you're doing all the letter pressing or better pressing because you're going to get a better embossed, debossed, the word. I'm going to spray the front even. So I'm going to try to flatten that. So see how it's flattening now? Okay, I hope everybody's doing good. Now this is flattening out just nice and perfectly the way I want it to. And I'm going to just blot off. I hope I don't pick up some of the color. Which I didn't. Yay. Now I've got a nice little damp piece of paper here. It's a little wiggly womply. Oops, not supposed to be that way. We'll see how it goes. Now I'm going to take the platen or whatever these are called. This is if somebody is here from Spellbinders, I hope you can correct me because I may say it wrong. I'm going to put this over here and I'm going to just take this over here and I'm going to take my card and I'm going to just lay it onto, now it is a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and do a little more spritzing because I don't want that wrinkled. You want it to be sort of flat because if it's not flat, it's going to probably interfere with the ink, the ink will touch it and you don't want it to touch until you're ready to press it. So I might have to take some of this craft tape, which Spellbinders sells. It's called Best Ever Craft Tape. And you know what? It's a really good tape for watercolor in general because it doesn't doesn't rip up the cotton, which is nice. If I can find the beginning of it. There it is. All right, so because it's a little wiggly, there's a lot of wrinkling going on here, I'm going to put down more than just the corners. But normally they would put it in the corners like little bits, like all you need is just like that much. You don't need much. But I do see places that I'm going to need more. So I'm going to go ahead and just put the little bits right here. Hope everybody's following okay and if you have questions, I'm here. I'm checking the chat, make sure that everybody's good. All right. And Robin's here. Well, hello, Robin. So Robin, yes, please correct me if I'm wrong on any of these. I go back with Robin from a long time ago. So it's so nice to be still connected with people in the industry. Okay. All right, I'm just putting a little bit more because I'm trying to not let it be lumpy. I want it to be kind of flat. So here I've got my beautiful little thing ready. And now I'm going to just do this one and I'm going to sort of look at it and see where the fancy flowers are. And this is a magnetic plate, so it's got a magnet that holds it together. And actually, when it's pretty firm, when you're putting it on there, you'll notice it's like really firm, so it's not going to go anywhere. And I love that. And you can just kind of lay it all together. Now I'm going to have to make some room here. And normally what I do is I do my watercoloring way in advance, and then I do my pressing because each technique takes space and room. So I'm going to show you this first, this thing. I love this. And I'm going to grab my machine or my little platinum machine, have it ready. And I'm going to just be, if I'm ready before I ink, I get this thing ready. And I know and really there's probably a way to do this, but I'm going to, yeah, I have it on wrong, but it doesn't matter. It seems to work okay. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm just going to do it this way. Okay, so I've got it ready, and I'm going to take my ink, and they come with the set comes with these nice little pads. They're handy and they work in your hand really well. And from what I've seen in the demos for the Better Press, is you kind of pound, you sort of tap and twist a little. So you don't want to smash it on. You kind of delicately sort of tap and then slightly twist, tap, twist, tap, twist, kind of like a dance, right? And you just want to go make sure you cover the whole plate. And you don't want to rub. I mean, it's really a delicate dance of tapping and twisting. Twist and shout, or twist and tap. Now they have other colors of inks, and I think I would like to try that today. I have not tried it yet. I only use the black because I think the black is so gorgeous against the watercolor. But it might be fun to try using some of the colored inks because I got some in the last batch, and I want to try them. So I think I got it pretty covered. And this is nice. It's moist, but it's damp, but it's not wet. And that's going to help make the debossing even better. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm going to place it on just like it was like closing a book. There it is. And I don't want to press down because if I press down, the ink gets transferred onto the paper. Now here's what I love about these machines. They have a small footprint, but then they open up and they just are wonderful. And it's got a nice weight to it, so it doesn't slide around too much on your table. And I'm just going to stick it in the machine, and I'm just going to roll. And it's really a gentle roll, slow roll, and I can kind of feel the pressure, not too much. And then you just kind of go all the way through and take it through. And then this fun part is happening now. So I'll just take that over here. Now I'll go ahead and I'm just going to pick it up, gently lift it up. There's magnets, basically. Oh, look at that. Oh, I love that. So these have magnets and they kind of bounce up and down. Oh my gosh, I love this. So here's what I would do. Now this has got to be trimmed, but it came out really nice. And I lifted up the, see if I can get this up. I made this so that big enough. The card is a full 5x7, but now I can trim this down. Oh yeah, that's nice. It really came out beautiful. So yeah, you probably can't see it, but if you were to feel it, and you might even see the texture, it feels like you can feel the texture of that. And I love that colors. I love it the way it came out. And then what I would do is I trim after it's done. I just trim the edges so you can see there's about a 1/4 inch here on either side and a 1/2 inch or so. Trim them down, and then I can mount them to another card and then add some little sentiments. So that's the simple one. And if you want to, after this is dry, if I want to kind of bring in some color with my watercolor, I'll probably go here and here just to kind of pop that. It might be good enough to do it now. Let me try it now. All right, so it's still damp, but now there's the debossing or the Better Press has now created like a container for my watercolors, which is really cool. And I'm just going to do a little bit of watercolor just to kind of show you a little bit of how fun this is. So you can take your cards and you can start to build if you want to add things. Like I'm going to add a little magenta. This is the quinacridone magenta. I mean, if I have any excuse to watercolor, you know I will, right? Keep watercoloring. It just gives me so much joy. And this, I'm just going to go ahead and bring in, maybe just kind of pop this beautiful flower, and I don't know what it is, and I'm just going to go outside the lines. Nobody cares. And what I'm noticing when I'm doing this is I've got this container feeling because of the embossed or debossed area. I feel like I'm sort of staying in the lines, if that makes sense. I'm actually feeling like it's easier to watercolor inside the lines if I wanted to. Yeah, there we go. And then you can just kind of create more contrast and more interest in your flowers if you want. Here, I'm just going to go here, and I can see that metallic, that beautiful silver Gansai watercolor is just gorgeous with this. And so you can just take it and take your time when you're doing this. I know I'm kind of rushing through, but I wanted to, I've got more to show you. But that's kind of where I'd go with that. I won't finish it now, but that kind of brings out more brightness. If you want to just kind of only do one, you can even do like, you think that maybe that one is good and you don't like that one so much, you can always blot it off. There we go. I like that better. For some reason, I just wasn't loving that, but I think this one is the one that needs a little bit of, well, a little enhancement. I think that's the word. But I'm using a different size fusion brush now. This is the number 2, so I can get into some nice delicate, small areas. Like I said, the pressed flower here is really almost like a container. It just, the watercolor drops right into the groove, which I think is pretty cool. That's something I wouldn't have noticed, wouldn't have thought of before, but that's one of the reasons why I'm loving this machine so much, or this little contraption that they invented, because I've always been attracted to letterpress just as a form of creating. But I remember seeing people that I knew that had big, they had to have a big rig, big setup for that. And this is nice and compact and pretty amazing. So that I'll just let that sit and then I'll finish it later. So there's one. Now let's get to this one. I want to show you this one. And I want to make sure we have plenty of time to do stuff. And I'll tell you some little tricks that you can do just to, I think that's probably dry enough actually. It's still a little damp, but that's probably to what we want, because I don't, I'll just take this out of the way. This is a little wet back here. I think I'll use the it's a little damp, but I think it's going to be nice. I'm not sure how it will work if I go with something still sort of wet, but let's give it a shot. The inks on these, I believe, are oil, kind of have a little more oil in it, and maybe someone can tell these Better Press inks, Better Press Black, acid-free, permanent, and waterproof. My question is there a little bit more oil in them? Then I'm just curious because I'm going to do this over a damp card, and we'll see if it bleeds. Hopefully it won't. So I'm going to take my little piece here. What did I just do? There we go. Okay, now I got to get this ready here. So I'm going to take this off and put it aside. And you don't have to, you can clean these. I don't clean them every time, but there is this cleaner that works really good for that. If you want to clean your plates, mine are a little dirty, got some goop on it, but if you want to clean them, clean it right afterwards. Otherwise, your ink stays on. It doesn't want to leave. It loves the plates. So I'm going to put this on. I'm thinking I've got my card. Oops, here we go. I've got to think about this. Okay, so it's going to go down like that. So I've got to put, I did something. There we go. Let's figure this out. No, it's not going to work that way. Here we go. Here. Nope, it's not going to work the way I thought. I should be doing it the other way, but that's all right. I'm not worried. I'm just going to lay it on here. So I've never used this one before. So I'm just going to put it on and kind of keep it off to the side a little bit like that. And then I'm going to put something like this word. And I love this because I can actually get a straight, nice and straight. If I'm laying it on the plate, it's oriented really nice. So now no, I'm not gonna do this yet. I'm still doing it in black because I just like this. And I was gonna try doing it in a different color. I'll do that on a plain piece that I haven't watercolored. So I'm just gonna tap and twist, tap and twist. And I think this is it might be a slow drying ink. I don't know. It's not that, I don't think it's too slow. I don't think you have a lot of time. That's why it's good. Oops, which I didn't do. It's always good to place your paper first. Oh, okay, so this time I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to turn it over and make sure, there it is. This is the right way. I'm going to lay this on like this. I'm going to reuse my tape that I had used. I'm just going to put it on like this, just on the corner, and just so it doesn't go anywhere. I'm going to use the tape that I already did. I don't like wasting tape if I can get away with it. All right. And we'll get those little corners down. And it looks like since you can use both sides, not because I tried to, but by accident, you can use the both sides. And you want to line them up. There's these little registration marks come in really handy. Okay, so now I've fumbled with that enough. And if I have any tape on the back, I want to get that off. Now that I have done that, I'm going to place it where I'm going to do it this way. So I'm just going to go back to my inking because I maybe had dried. I'm not sure. And we're just going to ink, pounce, dance, twist, and dance. All right, I think that's good enough. Now I did get some ink. I'm getting a lot of ink on the plate, but it shouldn't transfer onto the, hope it doesn't, but I'm just going to dab it off just in case. I don't think it should. Now I'm just going to lay it right down. Let's see, what was I doing? Yep, that's it. There, just don't press until you're ready. Don't push it down until you're ready to put it through the machine. And now I'm just going to do it. Let's see what happens. All right. It's almost like, can't wait to see what it looks like. Now I've got to be careful not to push down until I just need to lift it off because it only pushes down when it's going through the press and only on the paper, not on anything else. Oh my gosh. Look where the flower hit, that yellow didn't hit. I was in the wrong spot, but that's okay. I can make something else. But this is what happens. See, I was meaning to do the flower on that. So I'm thinking about that next time. But I love this. I think it's going to be fun. I could add some yellow to that piece if I want, or gold. And then I'll trim it down and make a card. But isn't that nice? So simple. Then here, I'll just show you this because I got to show you because I made such a mess. You just take your cleaner and just get it cleaned off. And you can do the whole thing. You can clean it just with while it's on the plate if you want to. Keeping things clean, right? Especially if you're just going to be doing several projects all at one time. Another thing I like to use is my baby wipes to get that excess oil. That cleaner has a little bit of oil on it. And we don't want that. But it makes it plate nice and shiny, makes that Better Press plate nice and shiny and ready for your next time. And I love these little magnets. And so they're very sturdy, just so you know. They're very, very sturdy plates. They don't feel like they're gonna bend. They're really beautiful, really well made. And you can change your sentiments. There we go. That. I think I got it ready for the next one. Now I'm going to show you a little bit of, oh yeah, I know what I want to show you. We'll take this off so I have everything ready. And I had a feeling I was going to take up a lot of space on this little table. It's very small for the kind of work that I need I usually need a big space like my whole kitchen counter. And my little table here gets a little crowded after a few minutes. Oh, and Virginia's here. Hi. Yay. And today is Friday. I can't believe how fast the week has gone by. I think it's because I've been having so much fun with this stuff. But this one, I love it. It was kind of an accident. I meant to do, it would have been more impressive, I think. But that's okay. No big deal. It's all good. I love happy accidents. So now I'm going to show you a quick thing here. Now I have got this little tag made out of, I basically cut it out of our watercolor paper. I've never done this before, but I'm going to try it. Going to just try this little, maybe this one, that would fit right in the middle. I'm going to put it right smack dab in the middle, right there. And then I'm going to put something nice, like something small. I have to have it, it's got to be small, like smile. Let's do smile. Smile's a good thing. We need to smile, right? So I'm going to put the smile right down here. And now, so I know that smile is right here. My top of my leaf, the very top is right at the top of this, and I'm ready to go. Now this has got the registration. Now what I could do, oh, this is something I never thought of. This is new. I'm sure you've all thought of it before, and Better Press people have done it before, or Spellbinders. Okay, I've got my little pre-cut tag. I could do a watercolor tag. That's not going to fit. But I'm going to just do this one. So I'm just going to put it right here. I'm going to kind of position it. And I notice that my smile is going to be just not going to work there. So it's just not going to make it. So I'm going to try putting it over here. Maybe, you know what I could do? I'm just going to do it right. I'm just going to let that part cut off. That's okay. I'm going to go back and I'm going to just lay this here and I'm going to find the bottom of this and let the rest of it just happen. Here we go. So now I'm going to take my tape and I'm just going to find it, oops, put it on there. As long as I have that bottom, as long as I can see the smile and I know that I'll be able to use that, I can see through it. And I'm just going to put a couple pieces. Here, I'll put that one right there. That's all I need, not much. And all right, that's that. Now it's ready to be done. Now I'm going to try, I've got some colors in here. Try these. These are some new colors, and even they have these great things. Like, look at this, a little bag to put all your goodies in. I love that. I love it. So this is bark, mulberry, and cosmic sky. So let's just play with some colors. I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to tap and twist. So maybe just a little of this mulberry color here, and then some cosmic sky. So I think they have a range of inks too that are quite a big range actually. I can kind of blend it. I can make it go everywhere I want, I think. Put a little bark color down here. I think that, ooh, my smile moved. I think I better get that straight. And just kind of tap, 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 and twist. Not twisting too much on that smile. I may just add a little black at the bottom with the smile. Just kind of give it, just to make that more prominent. But this is what I love about, this kind of reminds me of rubber stamping, but a little bit more fun. All right, now I'm going to do this. Simple, simple, stick it on top, and I'm going to put it through the machine. Okay, easy peasy. And let's see what it looks like. Oh my, that's gorgeous. So I have a tag. Look at the color. Wow. Okay. That's my first time I've done that, and I really love that. This is really gorgeous. So I've got that beautiful sort of mixing. Basically, I color mixed using the inks. And I don't know if other inks can be used with this, but Better Press or Spellbinders does make a lot of colors, so you can do this. But wow. Now this I can do afterwards. I can do some watercoloring, which of course I have to, right? I got a watercolor. So I think with this one, I'm just going to do little details, not a whole lot. I'm just going to take some of my watercolor and I'm going to just do a little bit, not a lot, but just a little. Now, when you're doing it over the lines, just use transparent watercolors because the lines are, they'll get kind of lost if you don't. It's a little yellow. I think that's pretty. Maybe a little bit of touch of orange. Very nice. And This flower needs to be yellow. I think it just needs to be a very soft, sort of a delicate, like a daisy, very soft yellow. And I could kind of, I'm just letting that watercolor kind of drop into the grooves a little bit, and it just feels like a container. It's amazing. That's it. And then just a little, maybe a little orange, just kind of soften that. That's it on that. Maybe these could be kind of a, what color? They can be a pink. I'm going to make these permanent rose, and they're going to be very delicate. I have to go light. I don't want to overdo it. I'm just going to put a little bit of these, make these a little sweet, little pink, whatever these are, pink posies. I'm just using some of that quinacridone magenta, and it is dropping into the little grooves and making it not too difficult to do detailed stuff. It looks like this needs to be yellow. So there it is. And maybe if I wanted to add a little bit of greenery, I can add a little sap green, but I'm going to keep it pale, very, very pale, because I love the color of the ink. I just think that, or the Better Press ink just really changes it. Very interesting. So just going very light. There. Easy. This simple, right? So let's try. Oh, so I wanted to show you this thing. I had to show you this because it's just so cool. Now there's this thing that I've had for years, and I love this thing. It's a little punch. And I need to find something that I'm not going to poke a hole into my table. So I found I've got a little thing I could use. Still drying though, but I'm going to just go ahead and make four little one. Oops. And make one a screw punch. This is a Japanese screw punch. If you don't have one, I suggest getting one because they're really handy for paper crafting. There's 2, 3, and 4 holes. Little tiny little holes, right? Just little tiny holes. And then what I have is, I think that is fine. I'm going to just grab a little thread here. Oh, June. Hi, June. If there's people coming in. Okay, so I'm trying to remember how I did this. I think I went through this one like that. And of course, it's better to just put a little glue on the end so you can poke it through. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this or not without tearing up. Yep, I'm tearing it up, but that's okay. But see how I just did one little bit there. And I'm going to just talk about cute, right? And you could do this on a greeting card too, if you want. Just simple, little texture, a little embellishment really makes a huge difference. And this is some twine, baker's twine that I had dyed with indigo. It was just red and blue and I just thought it was just kind of harsh. So I just took some indigo color and I dipped some of the twine in that, and I was able to get this nice piece. Now I got to thread that through if it's going to let me. It's where I need those tweezers. There we go. And then I'm going to tie it off and trim off the excess. But there it is. See how easy it is? Look, I mean, I just made a little bouquet, and it's sort of a nice little, just something a little extra that you can add to your cards, your tags, whatever, even a journal page would look really cool. I'm just going to make that little bow and then trim it up, and I am good to go. And it's on there. Isn't that cute? Smile. Let's see if there's any. I'm just noticing we've got like 5 minutes or 7 minutes left. And I'm gonna keep going unless you have some questions or you want me to show you something specific. I have one more little thing I wanted to share to show you. I'm going to go back to just the black ink, and I've got this little tag that I had some backgrounds, and this is some watercolor paper, and it's a little thin, so I'm not sure it's going to work, but I could use some shims or something to kind of make it a little bit to make it work. So in fact, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to take a couple of pieces of some paper, and I'm going to put that on my plate here. All right, I'm going to just do this. So there's ways to use other papers, and I don't want to steer anyone away from using the cotton papers that Spellbinder makes because they're beautiful papers. But if you have stuff in your stash and you're already there, you've already got stuff, why not just kind of wing it and make things work, use up what you've got. Now this one is just a piece of, it's a 90-pound watercolor paper, so it's not as thick as the other stuff that I've had. I'm going to put it here on my plate. And I'm going to make something cute, like, oh heck, what could I make? As I love these little, I love all this. Ooh, this is nice. Ooh, that almost works. It's almost right, but it's a little bit, maybe this one will be. I'm gonna do this one. Now, the thing is, I need to I need to position it, and I forgot to do that before I put the thing on, but that's okay. I'll wing it. So I've got kind of find the center of my plate. All right, I'm just gonna move all this out of the way. There we go. And I've made a shim, so I've got something that's, thick, makes the paper a little thicker. I hope. We'll see. Some people put a paper towel. I mean, I can even go thicker with more paper. Let's just see. Maybe 4 sheets. Just to give just to double the thickness of the paper going through it, and that gives a better impression. So I'm going to go ahead and put this like right in this spot in the lower part. It's a pretty little thing. And then let's see, what can we say here? What can we say? This one says, "You're one of a kind." I love that. Or "You're so kind." I was going to turn it upside down. There, like that. I think that's cool. So what's so nice too is all these little sentiments are interchangeable. You can use them, you can use them with other dyes, or not dyes, but with other plates, and you can get beautiful, beautiful cards out of that. So I'm just going to kind of wing this one because I see that needs to go on about right here. Definitely winging it this time. But that's the fun part. You never know what you're going to get. I'm going to put a little bit, I'm just going to get that so that doesn't go anywhere. And I'm just going to do this here, line it up a little bit, and then tiny piece here and a tiny piece here. Let's see what happens. I didn't use water this time, so I have no idea what's going to happen, but we're going to do it. This time I'll just use black. And these are really pretty. They're like little birds, very classical looking. And a little dancy. Tap and twist, tap and twist. I have to remind myself, otherwise I start pounding on it. Like, all right, I think I got it. And there we go. And let's just put it on there and see what happens. Go through the press and see where things get messy, right? A lot of stuff everywhere. But it's so much fun. All right, here we go. Let's see what we get. Oh boy. I should get a workout too, by the way. So let's see. I have no idea how this is going to look. This is totally unrehearsed, this one here. There we go. Let's see. I love it. Now it's not centered exactly the way I wanted it, but that's okay. It still looks pretty cool. It's I could trim it down, but I'm not gonna be one of those people. But it did give a nice, you can see, because I put a lot of the paper, see how it pressed through? You can see the embossing. Maybe I did too much of the shim, but it really feels, oops, I just tore that. That I just tore, so I'm just gonna leave that like that. There you go. We're gonna make that like it didn't happen, right? It didn't happen. It's so this paper, whatever paper I have, is very weak compared to the cotton papers. This must not be cotton paper because it just tore really easily. So that's all right. We'll cover it up with something. Got other little things I can play with, but I really love that you can use like old watercolors and just kind of wing it a little bit, I think, on some of the things if you need to. But there it is. I think I've got it covered. It is 3 minutes before we end. Is there any questions that anyone might have on any of these things that I showed you today? Oh, one thing I didn't show you, might as well, while I'm here, is I'm going to, so when you're using this, if you're gonna store this, what I love about these, just kind of get everything kind of cleaned up. get all the pieces of tape off of it, get your plate cleaned up, get the ink off of it, and then store it. And then you can put it away. And what's nice is I have a little way that I like to store all my pads and or my little sandwiches, we call these. I'll show you. I'm gonna bring it out to you because it's something that you have to see. It's because storage is a problem for me. I have very little space. I don't have, a big place to do a lot of work in. So I found that I use this little, it's like a letter holder thing. And I put there's my cotton paper. There's all these little things that, the sandwich thing for the die cut. Okay, so that's how I store all those things. Okay, so then I have it. It's easy to find and easy to get to. And then for this piece, you don't want to store that in one of those because it's a lot longer, first of all, and it has these little springs, and I don't want to mess with those. I want to keep those nice. So I keep that in a separate. I just keep that separate, and I think that these are replaceable if you need to. I believe that these are separate pieces that you can get if you need to get another one of these plates, but I don't think you'd need to if you take good care of it. And then I love that this thing can just go back like this, and it has this little handle, nice little carrying handle. And if you want to take that part off, you can too. Take that off. But you can go back, and then after you've done all your sessions, you can go back and just really have fun creating on your cards. And I think these already have metallic silver on them. I think it'd be fun to maybe add some gold or come back in with that later on. But I'll come back and I'll show you some of the finished cards again. How's everything going? It's awfully quiet, unless Phoebe, unless you're talking. And oops, I just realized my
No,
were you
no,
talking? Because I didn't, if I was talking over you, I didn't have my speaker on. So sorry.
well, it works out perfectly. I wasn't saying anything, but
Oh,
people
perfect.
are really enjoying it, and I'm just sitting here looking at everything you've created, just kind of taking it in and enjoying it. It's been a fun live.
Awesome. Now this, I want to share. Okay, back to these because I want to bring this up here. The metallic color that's on this is the Gansai, right? The translucent Gansai colors. And then this edge, I just painted the edge. I just kind of tapped it with the opaque colors, the opaque Gansai. So I can show you how I did that, even though this isn't the one I wouldn't do it on this edge, but I'm just going to show you how I did it. I just kind of took my watercolor and I just took my edge and just kind of went like that along the edge. So you could do like an gold embossing fluid if you want, but this works good. And it gives this nice little edge, and you can even kind of sort of angle it a little bit so that you can see. I don't know if you can see it. It's very subtle, but it's like a little small kind of a gold embossed edge. And I notice it really nice. It happened really nicely on this one. All right. So I think I've got everything, Phoebe.
Absolutely. This was a really good one. So
And
pretty.
I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. I was going to tell you. And I don't want to mess up here. This one here, I had a small little, it's not here, but I had a small, plate. And I just did one time and then flipped it over and did it again. So basically, if you want to, you can actually make more than one design out of these plates. So like this one, I could flip it, or, if I wanted to have maybe just this corner showing or that corner. So they're very versatile. You can actually create different looks. You kind of see what I mean? Okay, there you go. So that's what I love about them. So they're not a one-hit wonder. You can do lots of things with just one of those with one of those plates. Okay, I think that's it. I think I got it.
No, I feel like this was jam-packed with so many tips and like little tricks that people can use and take home. And I think that we've inspired, well, I think you've inspired some people to bring out their Better Press and Spellbinders tools that they might have just not been using for a while. So now they have a whole fresh batch of inspiration to go off of.
Yeah, and there it is. It's like a mixed media. This is true mixed media. You're doing all these different techniques, and it comes together in this really beautiful thing. And then you can just keep going, like whatever. You can use this in collage. You can use this. In fact, I was going to show you. this little origami envelope that I made in one of our streams, right? I put that there and I thought, how cute would that be to put like a little thank you note inside there? And I've got that little sentiment on the outside. So these are very handy for all kinds of things. I've got these I was putting in little folded pockets. So really it's just the possibilities are endless.
They're adorable. I love those. Oh. Well, thank you, Karen. And then everybody else who is joining us, thank you so much. We love hanging out with you guys. We love your questions, and we just like putting these live streams on for you. So we'll be back in 2 weeks with another one. And thank you so much, Karen. This was awesome.
I'm gonna say hi, but here I am. I got a bit of mess here, but I just wanted to say hi to everybody and thank you all for coming.
Yes. All right. Well, have a
All
great
right.
weekend, Karen, and everybody who joined us. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.